America's weather team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
The former South Carolina attorney, previously convicted of killing his wife and son, wins a change of venue for his new trial after the murder convictions were overturned. A pretrial hearing held today.
Judge Deborah McCaslin considered a number of motions, including one from Alex Murdaugh's attorney, Dick Harpootlian, in which he asked for a copy of the potential jury list before any court staff began a process of eliminating potential jurors, pointing out the reason they even get a second trial here is due to court clerk Becky Hill's attempt to sway jurors' opinions in the first trial.
When we have evidence that the clerk of court is attempting to influence the jury to obtain a guilty verdict so she could sell more books, when did that start? Did it start when she started winnowing down people she thought might be helpful to us?
The judge said wherever trial ends up being held, she will ensure that part of the process is done properly. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
The judge says to protect the defendant's constitutional rights, a move out of Colleton County is necessary, but she did not name a new venue. Hawaii is in for a stormy weekend, with the Big Island now under a hurricane warning as Tropical Storm Lala approaches.
The National Weather Service is calling for rain measured in feet, mudslides, strong winds, and flooding all possible in parts of the state. Over on the Big Island, where the strongest impacts are expected.
Fox Weather's Katie Byrne in Honolulu, which is now included in a tropical storm watch.
Honolulu police are preparing for the possibility of deploying once conditions deteriorate. For us, that'll start tomorrow, but to the south of us is where the first impacts will be, peaking Saturday.
Forecasters expect Lala to become a hurricane as it approaches the Big Island. An unexpected slump in spending in July. Retail sales dropping 0.6 of a point. Economists were expecting a slight increase, possibly driven in part by earlier back-to-school shopping. Stocks finished lower, the Dow down 107. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
We're getting word of a crash on I-10 eastbound just before the Causeway exit. It's got the left lane blocked. If you're traveling east on the Bayway from I-65 to the Eastern Shore, it's a 19-minute drive. Also watch for a crash on Airport Boulevard west of Cody Road. Also an accident at Michigan Avenue at Mobile Highway. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Baquet.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll explain how a divided room during the American Revolution found unity in a single prayer. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
News Radio 710.
Friday evening, what a feeling. I feel like singing. Weekend. Do what you want to do, weekend. Be what you want to be, weekend.
Wonderful town, wonderful people, places to go, things to see. My love is Mobile, that's my wonderful town. Beautiful homes, schools and churches, entertainment, places to shop. My heart's in Mobile, that's my wonderful town. Mobile, the center of transportation, business and industry set the pace. Mobile's got the Junior Miss celebration, home of Mardi Gras and Senior Bowl game.
Mobile is great to live in and work in.
The Climate's ideal for progress, you see. My love is Mobile. That's my wonderful town.
And now, live from Mobile, Alabama, as the stomach churns, starring Uncle Henry.
Thank you so much for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, here we are together on the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710, WNTM, just me and you, just the two of us here, trying to figure out what is going on in the world around us. What is going on? Now, it is Friday. Maybe you're in an even better mood. Maybe your life is ruled in some way by the calendar, and maybe a Friday makes you happier than other days of the week because perhaps at the end of your work today you have some time off. It's like Wet Willie programmed you to think. If you grew up in Mobile, you were often forced to listen to the song Weekend by Wet Willie that taught us, weekend, do what you want to do. Weekend, when you're working, days are through. Weekend, 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 weekend. This was taught to you. Many Mobilians were taught this. Well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I hope that we can spend some time as you perhaps begin your weekend here on this Friday evening. There's so much to talk about here on the Uncle Henry Show. Telephone number 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Email address, unclehenry@iheartmedia.com, if you'd like to use an old-fashioned electronic mail message to reach me. I do enjoy receiving the old-fashioned electronic mail messages. unclehenry@iheartmedia.com is the email address. Now, before I get into news topics and things like that, different things to talk about, the city of Mobile, if you've got children in school or you know somebody that has children in school, the city of Mobile is giving away, I think, up to 1,000 backpacks tomorrow filled with school supplies. Because in modern society, many people just cannot afford to feed their children or get them school supplies or anything. That's the reality we're living in. It's different than it was when you were a kid. And now, many parents, they got a kid and they have no way of taking care of it. So the city of Mobile is giving out free backpacks filled with school supplies at something called a back-to-school bash that is scheduled for tomorrow in Mardi Gras Park in downtown Mobile. And they're going to have, of course, the government now wants to entertain us. And it's not just Mobile. Governments all along the Gulf Coast, they want to entertain people. And so there's going to be live music and games and things like this in Mardi Gras Park for the children. But they've reduced the hours for this because of the intense heat. You may have noticed that it's August. And so with August comes intense heat. And so they've reduced the hours for this. It's going to be from 10 a.m. until noon. So just 2 hours. The bash is just a 2-hour bash, the back-to-school bash, 2 hours of bashing. And that's going to be from 10 to 2 tomorrow. No, I'm sorry, 10 to noon. 10 to noon tomorrow in Mardi Gras Park in downtown Mobile. And I guess they know what they're doing because when I think about Mardi Gras Park shade, maybe there's some shade, but I can't remember much shade down there. So not going to be a lot of shade. So if you want to get one of them backpacks with the school supplies for the kids, that is 10 to noon tomorrow in Mardi Gras Park in downtown Mobile. Now, Also, speaking of heat, already the heat caused the city of Mobile to scale back their back-to-school bash. It was going to be up until later in the afternoon, but they said, no, it's going to be too hot. Now, I saw a news item on Fox 10, very brief, about the intense heat affecting football practice. One of the most important things that ever happens on the Gulf Coast is football practice, because you've got to have it in order to have good football games. So the very important practices, some of them are being moved. This is very brief. This is like less than 30 seconds. Let's listen. Cameron Taylor of Fox 10 reporting on how the heat is affecting the very important football practices.
The intense heat forcing some local high school football teams to practice later in the day. Daphne High School holding a scrimmage at 5:30 tonight.
Now I think that was last night, not tonight. That was last night.
Avoid the hottest part of the day. Coaches say it's one way to protect athletes during this heat wave. They're also making sure there is plenty of water around, and they're keeping an eye on the temps and humidity.
All right, so they're moving the practice time to when it's not as hot, and they're making sure there's plenty of water. No, don't want anybody to get ill out there. Now, when I heard this brief report from Cameron Taylor of Fox 10, it reminded me of how different football practices are now in modern times versus the time when people were really tough. I want to share with you a little bit from I've got a man, I want to play this for you, describing football practice when he was coached by Bear Bryant. I want to share with you a brief excerpt of an interview I did with Bobby Jackson. Now, the late, great Bobby Jackson, I was blessed to get to work with Bobby Jackson here in this building for many years. Bobby Jackson was Bear Bryant's first quarterback when Bear Bryant went to the University of Alabama. Roll Tide, roll! And so Bobby Jackson was his first quarterback. Let's listen as Bobby Jackson describes what it was like to practice under Paul Bear Bryant at Alabama. This would have been 1958, maybe? Either 59 or 58, I'm not sure. So we just heard. Now it gets hot, so the schools, they want to make sure that the athletes, the student athletes, are as protected as possible. So they move the practice times to when it's not as hot. They make sure there's plenty of water. Let's listen as Bobby Jackson describes practice under Bear Bryant.
He worked us so hard that...
This interview was conducted probably in the year 2000, so I don't know what the math works out. That was a few years ago.
Well, we started out with 150 players in the spring. And by the time the next fall started, we had 50. By the time the kickoff, we had about 35 left.
That's because the practice was so hard.
We had them jumping the fence. We had them leaving at night. He worked us real hard. We would play, we'd practice for 3 hours, say, and we had no water. And the break of...
All right. Sorry to interrupt the great Bobby Jackson. No water allowed. Water was against the rules. Nowadays, you have as much water as you need. During those practices, water was against the rules during he just said 3 hours of practice. Let me go back. Let's continue to listen.
He worked us real hard. We would play, we'd practice for 3 hours, say, and we had no water. And the break of that, we'd have a cube of ice or maybe a frozen orange slice, but no water. And when it rained, we'd drink water out of the little pond or whatever, little pool there, if we could get there and he didn't catch us. And we wore our helmets all the time. I mean, you didn't take your helmet off. You did, and after practice, we'd have a 2-hour and 30-minute practice, and then we'd start running. We might run for another hour. People don't believe this.
I don't understand how the man today is different, because you practice for 3 hours, and then if you'd start running, you'd just collapse.
Well,
possibly, really.
Well, if you did that, if we did that, they'd move the ball over or move whatever we were doing. You would just be there on the ground.
Now, I'm pausing here just to add, because I talked to Bobby many, many times through the years about this stuff. He said that, you heard him say that you might get an ice cube or an orange slice at practice, but no actual water to drink. He said that when they were finally done with practice, they would run into the showers and they would stand under the showers with their mouths open, drinking out of the shower because they were so thirsty after practicing under these conditions. And he talked about moving the practice over. He told me several times that if you were practicing at Alabama in 1958 and 59, if you got hurt, they would not stop practice. They would move over a few yards away from you. They would just leave you there laying there, and they would just move the practice over a few yards and continue. Because it was, you had to get ready for the games. All right, back to the discussion of what life was like back when people were a bit tougher.
Over or move whatever we're doing, you would just be there on the ground. And,
see, that's the difference in today's society, because people would do these things and play football for the Bear. Now, people are so lazy, they'll buy the double roll of toilet paper so they don't have to walk 3 feet to change the roll. So you're saying the conditioning.
Conditioning.
He conditioned you to the point that you could withstand anything in the NFL.
Anything, and that first year, we did not lose a fourth quarter. Even though teams would have 3 teams running in and out on us, we would stay, in the fourth quarter, we were in better condition. And we won, that's where the fourth quarter came in. For years, Alabama players would hold up that 4 or the 5th for fourth quarter. Well, it first started with Coach Bryant that first year. The most anybody scored on us that year was 14 points, and we played the number 1 team, which was LSU. The number 2 team was Auburn, and they could only score. LSU scored 13 points, and Auburn scored 14, and we scored 8 on Auburn. So it was just that in the fourth quarter, nobody beat us.
Nobody beat them in the fourth quarter. Roll, Tide, roll! Oh, I can't tell you how. Just listening to the late, great Bobby Jackson, it's activating some type of chemicals in my brain. There's kind of, the pleasure centers of my brain have been activated, and there's like a secretion of some type of brain chemicals up in there. It's good. It's a legal high. It's legal. All you people out there wanting to get your CBD seltzers and your THC tinctures and all the whatever your marijuana suppositories, whatever it is you're using. I don't have to have it. I can just listen to Bobby Jackson interview and get all these things, all the brain chemicals in my brain are just firing off like this. By the way, I was correct. That was in the year 2000, and I'm talking about how people were so dadgum lazy. They can't have a regular-sized roll of toilet paper. It's just asking too much to change the dadgum toilet paper. We need a mega roll. We want a roll so big that nobody ever has to change it. Hello, caller. All right, and that caller hung up because the caller. What can you say to that? When I'm right, I'm right. By the way, the number 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Bobby Jackson went on after playing for the Bear. He went on to the Philadelphia Eagles, played in the NFL. He won. I think he helped the Eagles. It's been so long since I've thought about this. I don't know if I have a complete hold of the facts. The Eagles, when he was on the Eagles team, I believe they won the NFL championship. This was before the Super Bowl had been created. But I think they won NFL championship with Bobby Jackson on the team. He was just that good of a player, went from Alabama and then into the NFL. And I think his Philadelphia Eagles, when he was on that team, I think they beat Lombardi's Green Bay Packers. So some good playing. There's a lot of great football that Bobby Jackson was involved in, and it was just so much fun to work with him, and just all of the stories that he had to tell, and was very good friends with Mal Moore. It was great working with him. So anyway, all of that just because it got hot, it just spurred those memories, and I wanted to share them with you here on News Radio 710 WNTM's Uncle Henry Show. Now, let's see. There are many things to talk about, many things going on in the news, many other topics. I will get to some of this junk as we continue. But first, got to take a very brief time out. Back with more Uncle Henry Show after the break here on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Going east on the Bayway from I-65 to the Eastern Shore, it's a 19-minute drive. Also watch for a crash on Airport Boulevard west of Cody Road. Also an accident Michigan Avenue at Mobile Highway. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Bakke.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, the late great historian Stephen Ambrose tells the tale of a single consequential year in American history. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
Uncle Henry here, reminding you that your home's equity is a valuable tool and can be used for home improvements, like updating or adding a bathroom, which you can enjoy now, and it could increase your home's value. My friends at Gulf Coast Federal Credit Union can help you with a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Call them at 251-438-7464. Stop by any branch or apply now at GulfCoastFCU.org. That's Gulf Coast Federal Credit Union. Loans subject to approval on approved credit. See website for membership details. NMLS number 440571.
Want more than just awareness for your business? An iHeartMedia partnership can help drive action through sweepstakes, ticket giveaways, listener contesting, and local media. Attach your business to high-energy music moments built to grow awareness, engagement, and leads. Get started at iHeartAdvertising.com.
We have another heat advisory in effect today as heat index numbers are expected to climb to around 110 this afternoon. So just do your best to stay cool. Won't be much in the way of rain to cool things off. So temperatures will continue to remain quite hot through the day today and going into the weekend as well. No major changes. I'm Fox 2 News meteorologist Matt Barron. For this iHeart radio station.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll explain how a divided room during the American Revolution found unity in a single prayer. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
Now, your chance at $1,000 and a trip to our iHeart Radio Music Festival. Text the nationwide keyword Vegas to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's Vegas to 200-200.
The phone's blowing up, but you're in the driver's seat. Ignore the buzz, keep your eyes on the street.
Thank you for listening to News Radio 710, WNTM's Uncle Henry Shows, who continue here on this Friday. News headlines coming your way from Fox. We got the news headlines in less than 10 minutes here on News Radio 710, WNTM. Telephone number 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Email address unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. Now, I mentioned in the first segment of this hour that there's an event going on in downtown Mobile tomorrow, the Back to School Bash, with the Mobile Parks and Recreation Department, City of Mobile, giving out free backpacks and school supplies to children. But there's also live music and games. There's so much of an emphasis, I've noticed, in local governments all around the Gulf Coast on entertaining the citizen. Have you noticed this? More and more efforts, more and more tax dollars being utilized to entertain the citizens. Now, in most towns on the Gulf Coast, people could come up with a long list of things that their tax dollar could be used for that would be needed, like maybe hiring extra police, That always looks like a good idea, especially if you watch the news on TV in Mobile and you see this person was shot, that person was shot. So more police sounds like a good idea, or more equipment for police sounds like a good idea, or more paving of roads, fixing of potholes, better drainage. We can go down a long list of things the tax dollar could be used for that we think should be used. A lot of stuff that needs to be done with those tax dollars. But for some reason, I cannot figure out what has happened. And I guess this is all around the country where the citizenry wants to be entertained. They can ride over every kind of pothole every day their entire life and still think that their tax dollar ought to go to being entertained. And the reason I'm even bringing this up is I was looking every weekend, Mary Booth of iHeartRadio and Mix 99.9, she puts together the best bets for the weekend. It's a list of local events, fun things to do on the Gulf Coast, and you can find it on all of our radio station websites, including newsradio710.com. And it's a list of fun things to do, things you can take your family to a lot of times on the Gulf Coast. And I was looking at the list for this weekend, and there are so many entertainments that are taxpayer funded. Now, Back to School Bash, Mardi Gras Park, downtown Mobile. There's a couple of hours there with live music and stuff like that. You've got, let's see, tonight at 8 o'clock, the Mobile County Parks Summer Movie Nights at Escatawpa Hollow Park and Campground in Wilmer. Mobile County is going to show a movie. Your tax dollar going to a movie, showing a movie tonight at 8 o'clock at Escatawpa Hollow Park. What do they say here? Each Friday evening, a different park hosts a movie in Mobile County. Perfect for relaxing outdoors. So they're showing A Bug's Life tonight at 8 o'clock at Escatawpa Hollow Park. Now, I don't know how many people want to go out in this heat, but maybe there's going to be a bunch of people out there just enjoying the movie that is said it's free, in quotation marks, even though paid for by the taxpayer. By the way, I don't know if I want to sit in Wilmer in a park watching a movie about bugs. I think I would automatically just start imagining bugs being on me and stuff like that. But anyway, that's in Wilmer. That's a taxpayer-funded entertainment. Then I'm looking down the list. The next thing on the list is in Pensacola. Pensacola Movies in the Park. Same thing. Pensacola. This is Saturday night. They're showing, it's at the Community Maritime Park, they're showing some movie, Zootopia, in Pensacola. Pensacola Movies in the Park. Then I look down the list. Tonight at sunset, Santa Rosa County in Florida, movie in the park, Aladdin. Looking further down the list, Pensacola Beach, Cinemas in the Sand. I mean, this, do taxpayers understand? Do citizens understand that free entertainment does not just come out of a genie's bottle with a wish? When did this happen, where people look to the government to entertain them like this? Look, I'm not against. I remember, in fact, I remember when this started up a few years ago in Mobile, one of the reasons that was given in the city of Mobile, this was I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or more years ago. Somebody's explanation was this was in an effort to have people actually meet their neighbors. That was one of the reasons that apparently people are not talking to each other in the streets. They're gunning each other down in the streets, but they want people to get together for other reasons other than settling disputes with firearms. They want to get together for a better reason, like maybe watching what was the movie they're showing in Wilmer? A Bug's Life. But it just blows my mind. Yes, I hate to use a slang term of my mind being blown, but it blows my mind that people would rather have their tax dollars go to this than go to fixing a pothole or having better drainage or a bridge or anything that we need. All right, look, I'll stop my complaining temporarily so we can get to the news break. It is time to hear news headlines and words from our sponsors, and then back with more Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. Let's take the dadgum break.
The killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch praising the work of law enforcement in bringing Mangione to justice. She also offered a message to any supporters of the 28-year-old confessed killer.
Violence is not a cause, murder is not a message, and a killer is certainly not a hero.
He's next scheduled to be sentenced on December 18th. America is listening to Fox News.
Tropical storm Lala is expected to become a hurricane as it passes Hawaii this weekend. A hurricane warning remains in effect for the Big Island, while Maui County is under a tropical storm watch. Forecasters say Lala has 60-mile-per-hour winds and could strengthen into a hurricane as it approaches the island early tomorrow. Governor Josh Green has declared a statewide emergency. Luigi Mangione is admitted to the 2024 killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He entered his guilty plea this morning to federal stalking charges in New York. He faces life in prison and will be sentenced on December 18th. Speaking in court, Mangione said he traveled to New York with the intent of killing Thompson, and he knew what he was doing. He entered his guilty plea without a plea deal with the federal government in place. The judge told Mangione that he will not be able to withdraw his plea if he does not like the sentencing. Mangione still faces state murder charges. I'm Chris Coraggio.
Traffic is building up now on I-10 eastbound. Watch for an accident in the left lane between the Causeway and Battleship Parkway. If you're traveling from I-65 to the Eastern Shore on the Bayway, it's a 16-minute drive. Also, an accident on Pine Forest Road at North Blue Angel Parkway. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Bakke.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
Hey, Uncle Henry here with two people who know a thing or two about financial stability. Meet John McNeil and Virginia O'Brien with Mobile Bay Financial Solutions.
Hi, I'm John. In today's unpredictable economy, staying informed is essential.
And I'm Virginia. We will help you make smart decisions, even when the market feels uncertain.
Our strategies evolve with inflation, market shifts, and policy changes, so you don't have to worry. From retirement planning to legacy planning, we offer more than investment advice.
We help you manage emotional discussions with clarity and confidence. Let's talk about your goals and where we can help. Call us today at 251-666-5000. That's 666-5000.
Mobile Bay Financial Solutions, navigating what's next together.
Advisory services offered through Mobile Bay Financial Services, LLC, an Alabama-registered investment advisor. We can offer investment advice in states where we are registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. The material contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice, securities, insurance, or other investment products.
Free shouldn't come with a catch. With iHeartRadio, it doesn't. No monthly fees, no trial periods. Radio, music, podcasts. Download the free iHeartRadio app now.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Everyone walks through seasons of uncertainty, but you don't have to walk through them alone. At intouch.org, you'll find messages of hope, biblical truth, and encouragement from Dr. Charles Stanley, available anytime you need it. Dive into devotionals, watch sermons, or explore resources that help you draw closer to God day by day. When you're ready to refocus your heart and renew your faith, visit intouch.org. It may be exactly what your soul needs today.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Bakery owners, you will be loved today. Every pastry will be flaky. Your cake will make a child's day. Your delivery van won't get sideswiped by a distracted garbage truck driver. But if so, breathe easy, knowing you'll get back to business quickly with Progressive protecting your commercial auto. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Teachers make a difference each and every day. Now's your chance to say thanks. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who goes above and beyond for students. They could be one of our $5,000 winners for classroom supplies and resources. Teachers give so much. Now it's our turn to give back. Nominate a teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
This is the Uncle Henry Show on a Friday. 251-479-2723, the telephone number to call. 251-479-2723, the number to call here on the Uncle Henry Show. Hello, caller.
Hey, Uncle Henry, how you doing?
Snake Trapper, you are live on the radio.
Hey, Uncle Henry, I spent the last hour and a half since I got home from work on the northwest corner of that lake looking for that monster snake, Uncle Henry. There's a little area down there where it looks like he might want to hang out, and I did find a spot where it looked like he may have slithered off of the muddy bank into the water. It was a little bit too narrow for one of them big yellow-belly slider turtles, but it definitely probably could have been him. And man, I could just smell him in the air, Uncle Henry. I know he's close by.
So you're gonna keep looking for him this weekend? You got time to do it?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna spend probably Friday from about 9 o'clock, probably up until 12 o'clock. The cooler morning area, looking for him. That's when they'll come out early to try to feed. Actually, come across 2 little kids down there, seeing what I was doing. Was coming over to talk to me. And they had heard of the monster snake, Uncle Henry, and said they had actually talked to people that has seen it. And so there's a myth going around that it's eating people's animals and cats, Uncle Henry. They said they had a neighbor that had a cat that come up missing, and I told them it's very unlikely that, cats are much faster than snakes. The only way that thing will get somebody's cat, Uncle Henry, is the cat would have to walk up on them and never even see it in order for it to get them. So I do believe the coyotes are responsible for the missing small pets around this area. I lost one to a coyote probably about October, will be 3 years ago, man. A deeply beloved cat that broke my heart, and I'm pretty sure it was coyote that got him. But yes, sir, Uncle Henry, I'm going to be out bright and early spending some time trying to find him.
Hey, did you see, I thought of you when I saw this news story. I'm sure you probably heard it. You heard the news story about the football player, the high school football player that had a snake in his helmet?
Yes, sir. It wound up being a venomous snake. Now, I didn't catch exactly what type.
It was a cottonmouth.
It was a cottonmouth.
It was 2 feet long, and he practiced with it in his helmet for over an hour and did not get bit.
Uncle Henry, that fella turned out very lucky. For one, that's a rare place for a cottonmouth to be. You know, if his helmet was, by a swampy area or I'm just wondering how a cottonmouth would have got in it. I would have thought it had been a copperhead or maybe even a rattlesnake, but man, that is weird that it was a cottonmouth. And with him putting that helmet on, Uncle Henry, it would have been fatal had that thing bit him in his head. So
wow.
he lucked out on that one.
Hey,
I didn't. It was a cottonmouth though.
Yes, it was. Hey, now before we're out of time with this call, I've asked you similar questions before, but all the weather people say we're heading into an extended blast of heat here. How is the weather going to affect the snake activity?
Uncle Henry, when it gets into triple digits, the snakes will be looking for cooler places to get. Like, for instance, they won't be sitting out in sunlight. They'll be in shades on the banks. Now your yard dwellers, like your rat snakes and your hognose and your garter snakes. Now, all them now, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if people start finding them inside their house, Uncle Henry, because they will, if they can get under the crack of your door or through a little gap in your brick or anywhere, they will come in and cool off.
Okay.
So, but if that happens, Uncle Henry, it's very unlikely that'll be a venomous snake. So, just try to assess on what kind of snake it is. And, if you have to burn your house down or whatever, but, it's more than likely it won't be a venomous snake. So, yes, sir, they will be looking to cool down. It wouldn't surprise me if this weekend you don't hear of people finding them in their pools. Now, that could be any kind of snake getting in your pool.
Exactly. All right, well, Snake Trapper, thank you for the phone call. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you find Moccasinzilla finally.
Uncle Henry, you'll be the first one to know when I do, brother.
Thank you, Snake Trapper. Have a great weekend.
Take care, my friend.
You too. There he goes, Snake Trapper. 251-479-2723, the telephone number on the Uncle Henry Show. That's 251-479-2723. Now, I mentioned the snake in the football helmet story. I've got a brief report from Fox Radio News. They put this out. I think they put this out yesterday. Here are the details from Fox on a high school football player practicing for about an hour with a snake in his helmet.
This happened recently in Maumelle, Arkansas, where a high school football player felt something moving inside his helmet. He took it off, and curled up in the padding was a 2-foot venomous cottonmouth. He'd apparently been practicing with the snake in there for nearly an hour. Animal Services was called and eventually submerged the helmet in water to get the cottonmouth to come out. Nobody was bitten or hurt. The player grabbed another helmet and went right back to practice. Lesson learned, it's always a good idea to check your equipment before taking the field. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
Yes, that would be one lesson you would learn. I wonder, is that kid going to get the nickname Snake? That's a great way to get a nickname, especially if he's good at what he does there on the field. So I wonder if he'll get the nickname Snake after practicing. He had a venomous snake, a 2-foot-long venomous cottonmouth in his helmet for about an hour practicing football. So I wonder if he'll get the nickname Snake. I also wonder what was going through the snake's primitive snake brain. It picked somewhere, I don't know, to get out of the sun. Snake Trapper said snakes, when it's hot, are trying to get out of the sun. So maybe the snake just was looking for somewhere to get out of the sun. Well, I wonder what the snake was thinking. Could have been some tackling involved. A lot of weird noises and vibrations for that snake up there in that helmet. Anyway, weird news item. And I know probably gives some people the heebie-jeebies that are very snake phobic. By the way, I apologize for not knowing I've forgotten whatever the real phobia name is. I'll just call it snake phobic or being a fraidy cat. So I wonder, you know who you are. Does it give you the heebie-jeebies thinking about the guy lining up at practice with a snake coiled up in his helmet? I'm glad it wasn't me. I would not want to have any snake in any article of clothing that I might be involved in. Again, telephone number 251-479-2723. The telephone number, that's 251-479-2723. Email address, unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. That's unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. Now, I got one more break I want to take this hour before we come back. There's just a brief break here and then more Uncle Henry Show.
On the Bayway eastbound on I-10 approaching Battleship Parkway, left lane is blocked. With Time Saver Traffic, I am Lisa Botke.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
Anna's here from Mobile Bay Coins and Fine Jewelry. Anna, if I want to buy some gold and silver bullion, what does your inventory look like?
Oh, we have a large selection. We always get compliments on how big our bullion collection is and jewelry as well, because a lot of the stuff you see in the case is only about 10% of what we have physically in the store. If you have a question or looking for something specific, just ask one of us and we'll be happy to help.
Call 251-725-1590 for Mobile Bay Coins.
Want more than just awareness for your business? An iHeartMedia partnership can help drive action through sweepstakes, ticket giveaways, listener contesting, and local media. Attach your business to music moments built to grow awareness, engagement, and leads. Get started today. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Some apps say they're free, then come the fees. Not the iHeart app. It's 100% free. No required subscriptions to access the best live radio stations, free playlists, podcasts, and more. Download the free iHeart app today.
iHeartRadio. For more information about contests on this station, go to newsradio710.com/rules.
We have another heat advisory in effect today as heat index numbers are expected to climb to around 110 this afternoon. So just do your best to stay cool. Won't be much in the way of rain to cool things off. So temperatures will continue to remain quite hot through the day today and going into the weekend as well. No major changes. I'm Fox 2 News meteorologist Matt Barron. For this iHeart radio station.
This report is sponsored by VDCI, Vector Disease Control.
West Nile virus activity is increasing. VDCI works to reduce mosquito threats. You can help by covering up at dusk and dawn, wearing repellent, and removing standing water around your home. Sponsored by Vector Disease Control, your partner in mosquito management.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life.
The Uncle Henry Show continues here on News Radio 710 WNTM. News headlines coming your way in less than 10 minutes. If there's something you want to share with the show, you can. 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Email address, Uncle Henry at iHeartMedia.com. That's Uncle Henry at iHeartMedia.com if you want to reach the Uncle Henry Show. Now, I've also got a voicemail. This is a brief voicemail. I just want to, before I get into some other topics here, a brief voicemail, but an important voicemail.
Roll Tide, Unc. 22 more days, Uncle. 22 more days. Roll Tide, roll.
Roll Tide, roll. 69-year-old Chris of West Loxley. Thank you for that. Thank you for reminding me 22 more days until we have some Alabama football. How about that? I'm already starting to get excited. Got excited earlier this hour when I shared with you some of the Bobby Jackson audio, and now just getting more and more excited for seeing football in all of its varieties. Now, let's see. What can we talk about before I go into the news break? There was a story. I don't know what this story has in it, but I saw that Fox News, the national radio Fox News, they've got a report on Congress and the people in Congress that use social media. A report on who is generating the most social media buzz in Congress. Now, I want to hear this because I have not been very fond of Congress lately, especially the Senate. Especially the Senate. It's usually politicians not from around here that I get the most upset with, but I have generally been mostly disgusted by Washington officials lately. So I just want to hear, if you don't mind, I want to hear which Congress people are the biggest social media stars. Let's learn together.
Among those topping the social media popularity contest are high-profile progressives, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, with her viral response to a comment about critical Republican men.
They hate me because they ain't me and they can't ever be me.
Another Democrat.
Now this is Congress. These are people voting on stuff that's allegedly important. And that's the level of discourse we have now gotten into. You know, you think of you read the stuff that the founding fathers wrote, and I'm reading some of this stuff. Some of these men young, way younger than me, and they're writing all this stuff, and they're just as brilliant, writing all these brilliant things, coming up with things like constitutions and declarations of independence and this, that, and the other. And then now we're at the point where we're getting AOC doing whatever she is. Let me hear this again. I want to hear what did AOC say?
Among those topping the social media popularity contest are high-profile progressives, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and
that makes sense that Bernie Sanders would be popular. He's been around a long time. He's promised a lot of people a lot of free stuff for a long time.
New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, with her viral response to a comment about critical Republican men.
They hate me because they ain't me and they can't ever be me.
All right, there we are. We've gone from people that can write declarations of independence and constitutions to whatever she said, they can't be me, they want to be me, and blah, blah, blah. All right, who else?
Another Democrat with a formidable following, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. Among Republicans, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, and Ohio Representative Jim Jordan pulling in the most followers. Many of the GOP lawmakers avoiding TikTok. Politico analysis finding members weighing a presidential bid have amassed some of the highest followings. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
Okay, and the Republicans staying away from the TikTok. Now, I'm not on it yet. My company has been telling me to get on TikTok for several years now. And I've avoided it, like these Republican people have, because of its ties to China. But at this point, if that's where people are going, if that's where people are getting information, I guess these Republicans need to get up on the TikTok, I guess. If that's where the people if that's where dumb people are getting information, they might want to go reach some of those dumb voters on TikTok. All right, what else? What else can I share with you here? before going into the news break here on News Radio 710 WNTM. I did see they're making some changes to the drinking laws in Germany. In Germany, they're getting rid of a law that allows 14 and 15-year-olds to drink alcohol as long as their parents are with them. So if in Germany, you may not be aware of this, but if you're in Germany and you've got a 14-year-old and you think, well, I want to go have a round, I want to go drink some beer with my 14-year-old, it's perfectly fine. The Germans allowed parents to parent. So they would allow them to take the 14-year-old in there with them. Well, they're getting rid of this. And now in Germany, you can't go have a beer with your 14-year-old anymore. They're losing their freedoms. But it's still, even though they're getting rid of that law, it is still really permissive compared to this country. In Germany, the drinking age for beer, wine, and champagne is 16. That is, see, back when I was a kid, youngsters would drive to Loosedale to get their stuff. All right, look, or they'd just go somewhere in Mississippi. All right, look, out of time for this hour. There is more Uncle Henry Show coming up after the news break here on News Radio 710 WNTM. Please continue to listen as long as is physically possible.